Let's talk a little bit about diet. How important is that, or was it to you, especially when you were in competitive running, when you're doing marathons?
Right.
How important is it to prepare your body that way?
Well, I think nutrition is extremely important. I'll be honest with you, I've never paid a lot of attention to it as far as following a strict diet. I've always ate what my body tells me it wants. And when I'm running a lot, like I have for a long time now, my body kind of tells me what it wants to eat. And there's some days it wants a big old hunk of red meat. Other days, maybe a slab of fish. Other days, maybe a bowl full of noodles, maybe some rice, potatoes. And when I'm hungry, I eat. When I'm not hungry, I don't eat. And and listen, I've got a wicked sweet tooth, and I love cookies and brownies and cakes and stuff like that. I don't overdo it, but I don't not let myself have any of that kind of stuff. I don't eat much candy. I don't eat a lot of junk food, but every once in a while, gosh, I'll pull in and get a big old juicy hamburger at one of the local burger places, and it tastes so good and goes down good. And I think anything, if you do it in moderation and don't live off of cheeseburgers 24/7, I think you're going to be fine. Now, I travel a lot with my speaking, and I'm at different events around the country and still running, so I do supplement. I'm over 50, so I take a men's multivitamin for 50 plus people that are kind of energetic. And just to cover my bases, I take an iron capsule every other day because back in 1980, I got real anemic out training, and so I've always had a little bit of low iron in my system, so I take that. And other than that, I just try to eat as healthy as I can, and otherwise I think some people make too much out of the nutrition thing, but then there's others that, it's like Big Macs every day, and that's not good.
Were you into carb loading? Is there something to be said for that?
Yeah, the carb loading part of, like, before a marathon, I love carb loading because I eat a lot of carbs anyhow. Now, there used to be an old adage back in my younger days where you would deplete first. So basically the last week before the marathon, the first 3 days you wouldn't eat any carbohydrates, basically all proteins. By that third day, you could hardly get out of bed, and you go out for a run, and you think, how am I going to run a marathon in 4 days? Well, so you deplete your system of the carbos. Then on that fourth day, or after the third day, I should say, which would be, I guess would be the fourth, you start loading up on carbs, and then supposedly you overcompensate. Your body is able to store more. I never did it. I've had friends that did it, and they were so crabby by the third day that their spouse or girlfriend would want to kick them out the door. And now they've proven that the depleting part isn't such a good idea, but the loading part is. So I just make sure the last week I'm eating a higher concentration of my foods or carbohydrates. And the place where I see a lot of people make mistakes is that day before. They'll go to the Fargo Marathon pasta dinner the night before, and they try carbo loading all in that last night. And I see them going back with plates of spaghetti, and I'm thinking, how in the heck are they going to digest that all? You don't want to overdo it, but if you just, that week of the marathon, if you just make sure that you're eating more carbohydrates that week, making sure you're drinking lots of fluids, like water or some kind of electrolyte drink, because that'll help store the carbs in your body, you're going to be plenty good. But to overdo it at that last night, then you're going to end up having problems perhaps the next morning out on the course. Not good.